Well, welcome if you're joining us online at onespotmedia.com. Calls for serious intervention in Manchester this afternoon as COVID-19 cases continue to spike in the parish. One councillor is now suggesting an outright lockdown to get the outbreak under control. The details from Krista Campbell.
Thursday's Municipal Corporation meeting in Manchester, and again Medical Health Officer Dr. Nadine Williams was the bearer of bad news. COVID cases continue to soar in the parish, and some residents are making matters worse.
Persons are still attending parties, still attending big funerals, grave digging and such gatherings. Persons are still not wearing their masks in public spaces as they should. And persons are still going up about their business when they are symptomatic. So when we call the persons who are positive and we interview them, you will get perhaps sometimes up to 20 contacts. And these are people who are symptomatic and yet they are still going around and exposing other persons.
669 confirmed cases in Manchester since the outbreak of the pandemic last year, 50 of them active, with 24 deaths. But even persons who display symptoms of the virus and those who have been confirmed positive are still causing problems.
And even when they're told that you need to be quarantined because we make telephone contact initially and then we'll give them the physical copy of the quarantine order. So unless they have that physical copy, they still feel as if they can go about their business freely.
Events over the Christmas period are largely believed responsible for the new spike in COVID cases, but councillors insist the police must do more to enforce the law.
Mask. We had an officer who went to a club the other day because we still have to do the club visits, and nobody in the club was wearing their mask or physical distancing, and that's just one instance.
When I drive through the division, some areas, 3 parties next door, one here, one here, one here. People all over. It's not like a cookout that you send out the food. People are, and no mask, your worship.
Funerals are also a major concern, for which one councillor wants funeral home directors and ministers of religion to be held accountable.
Funerals are bigger than usual. And they cannot be controlled because they're in an open space. Probably we could go back. Personally, I think we should go back to the church where you can control the amount of persons who come to church. And as I saw happen at a funeral, everything was done inside the church. The body was committal section of the service was done in there. So when they went outside, all they did was to put the body down. You probably need to start holding ministers responsible. So if they go to a funeral and see the crowd too big, they say, no, I'm not doing this. And if they know the body won't go down, they'll do something.
The councillors also want increased protection at the parish markets, which are also believed to be a source of further spread of the virus. Krista Campbell, TVJ News.
A 42-year-old woman from Manchester is the latest to die from COVID-19 in Jamaica, pushing the island's death toll to 323. The Ministry of Health says 2 more deaths are being investigated. Meanwhile, the country's COVID-19 case count now stands at 13,992. A 19-day-old child is among 77 persons who tested positive for the respiratory illness on Thursday. The number of persons hospitalized with COVID-19 has climbed to 107. 8 are in critical condition. Meanwhile, Mayor of Port Maria, Richard Creary, is worried that the number of COVID-19 infections in St. Mary might soon surpass that of St. Anne and Manchester. Speaking at the parish's municipal corporation meeting on Thursday, he said the spike in COVID-19 cases is causing businesses to close. He cited instances of this happening in Highgate and Port Maria.
It is alleged that there are 2 positive cases in Richmond. One of the gentlemen owns a business place. So when I went there yesterday, persons were saying they don't understand how that business place wasn't closed down and the other persons tested, etc.
He's urging residents to adhere to the COVID-19 safety protocols. There's a call this afternoon for the amendment of the Terrorism Prevention Act to allow persons who import illegal guns and ammunition into the country to be branded as terrorists. The call comes from Councillor for Montego Bay Northeastern, Senator Charles Sinclair, days after Monday's major gun bust at the Freeport Wharf in St. James. He was speaking Thursday at the St. James Municipal Corporation's monthly meeting.
Somebody must have been involved from within for somebody to take that up, make that chance to import anything. Because everything at the port is supposed to be scanned based on the information at that. So, you know, Mr. Chairman, what I feel this morning is that within this country and Jamaica, people who walk amongst us, is that we have some people that are going to brand as terrorists. Because it could only be a terrorist, Mr. Chairman, who would have contemplated bringing into Jamaica that type of weapon and weapons. And the only purpose that you can get from a firearm and gunshot is for people to be murdered.
Now 19 firearms, including 6